Okay. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Just for a minute, we would like to review our situation right now. We can see that from where we stand, it seems like there's a team of somebody that they review everything we say, and then they have another team that fulfills that void. They take care of that, And when you see them after a few months or a year or so, they're dealing on a good level. When you first hear them, like when they first invaded Iraq, they had them generals on TV or whatever. They didn't know nothing about what they was talking about because they wasn't up to speed on Iraq. Now you get them some months later, they've studied it, or even when they went home that night, they read 2 or 3 articles, at least they knew something about it. Okay, if you look at some of the people that we've discussed in the recent past, they are on the money as far as, we done had the Triangle of Terror for I don't know how long. In fact, we had the Triangle of Terror, if you from UC Berkeley, and it must have been 89. Then before that, it was 87, because at that time we was dealing with South Africa, we was dealing with Israel, we was dealing with the United States. So Saudi wasn't in the picture till later on. So we said the Triangle of Terror are those colonial states, the United States, the Israelis, the Israelis and South Africans. Imagine, soon as Mr. Mandela come in, they destroy their atomic secrets. South Africa had an atomic bomb. As long as they wasn't no Negroes around to do it. But as soon as he got in there, they just said, that's it. No atomic bomb for Negroes, no. And we could see basically where they were coming from. Now, with Mr. Netanyahu, with all the problems he's having in Israel now, you don't see hardly any of it on the. You would think the guy was the chief of they got a demonstration every day, every day. But you never hear about it. And our team is doing well. Not only Yemen, I was paying attention to what they were saying today, because they're having a meeting in Saudi Arabia today. Okay, that meeting in Saudi Arabia was to let Qatar back into this little Arab Union. That means that Qatar has beat them. When you hear it on their news, they saying it like, what's his name, Kutzner or whatever, he was over there, and it was wonderful the way he's going over there, and this is another feather in the cap of, it ain't no feather in the cap. All those Arabs, including Egypt, told Qatar, if you don't do this and if you don't do that, they had 13 things they were supposed to do. Qatar didn't agree to none of them. They didn't agree to none of them. And they said, you got to get rid of the Turkish Air Force. You got to stop dealing with Iran. See, when I leave here, there's a non-stop flight to Doha in Qatar. Then there's an 1.5-hour flight to Tehran. And that's it's the best and it's the cheapest flight you can, Qataria, that's the airline. And that's the flight that I take all the time when I go to Iran. Is from here, It's a 13, 14-hour nonstop flight to Doha, and then from Doha, you got a other flight to. But now Al Qataria is all over that part of the world. They close the airspace. You can't fly over airspace, Saudi Arabia and all that. Okay. They said, okay, that's all right. They kept dealing with Iran, and that's what was burning them up. Iran and Turkey, see now, they wanted them to close down Al Jazeera, which comes from Qatar, and all that. And they're not a dynamic station, but compared to what you get here, they don't do too bad, And now Al Qataria, Al Jazeera in Arabic is probably better and to the point than what we have. I met some of the reporters. In fact, when I was going to Iran, they was at the airport going to Qatar, So when you look at what's going on in Yemen, that means there's certain friendly people that they are winning. You're dealing with everything that happened in the Middle East, they're winning. You deal with Iran, Iran is probably the best, technically they're doing a good job. There's a few things we would like for their foreign ministry, except for the little shenanigans that they do. But like they got the idea now. All the information I get, they got the idea. They know that they was taken for a ride. Because boss man told them, if you ain't never, they have enough information to know boss man. The first CIA coup d'etat was Iran, 1951 to 1953. That's the first thing that they had. Okay. Then 1954 might have been Guatemala or something like that. But everything that's happening in the news right now, we're not doing too bad. With everybody against, everybody is against. They can bomb and kill the people in Yemen like it ain't against the law. They can invade all of our people. See, they've invaded us. We haven't invaded nobody. They talk about Iran, they have to change its behavior. Iran haven't invaded nobody. Everybody's invaded Iran, or not in Saddam's time. Right now, ain't nobody going to invade Iran. That's why Saudi Arabia and all of them is working with the Yahud. They've been working under the table, but the Gulf Council is now, some of them is openly working, with the Zionists because they have something in common. They all hate Iran. And when you look at the map, you can see what's happening. There's nothing they can do about Iran because Iran takes care of this whole side of the Persian Gulf, right? And they are on the other side, and those are little people. And to have, this is the 6th year of this attack that they had on Yemen. With all the stuff they used, broken all the laws, and they haven't gotten anywhere. They should be ashamed. So right now, this thing with Qatar, they trying to get Qatar back on board, but Qatar done already told them, no, man, you're not messing with us. We ain't doing nothing you say. So they broke them. They broke the other states. They broke Egypt. They broke Saudi Arabia. And, what's the name's plans is all haywire. What's the old prince over there, whatever his name is? that boy haven't done nothing right. He can't do nothing. He just not equipped. Now that's good because he's exposed himself. And just imagine they cut the man up and put him in a suitcase or whatever and take him somewhere. And it's nice, our homeboy, he can do whatever he wants. But see, the manifestation of defects is necessary sometimes. In every decline of a great civilization, a lot of the defects in the civilization or in that state have to come to the top. And that's the way it is right now. All of what the United States, and look, they having a thing down in Georgia today, right? But you can see, well, why don't Don be quiet after he did this off? Because his job. We said clearly his job was to destroy the Republican Party. After a while, we said his job is to destroy the Democratic Party. And it's clear his job is to bring down the United States of America. And even his friends is telling him, if you saying the elections are nothing, then the world is going to think, hey, why should we follow you guys? Your elections, you're degrading the elections in the United States to elections in third world countries. You know, where they'd send Jimmy Carter around to monitor the elections or somebody else to monitor the elections. They're going to have to rejuvenate Jimmy Carter, pump some life back into him, and have him monitor the elections here, right? Because imagine if there's so many people in America, they say, the stuff they say about Donald Trump, they're lying a lot. In other words, he got these many followers, that many followers. I don't think the people in America are dumb, but those crackpots don't have those type of numbers. You know what I mean? This is just my belief now. They got big numbers, but when he go to an airport and speak, everybody out there, half of them is paid. They got to be paid because what was the Negro that was on his team? They had a thing in Oklahoma and the man died. It's too many people after he had one. All the people, look, everybody in the White House had coronavirus almost. I mean, and he studied talking about, no, I don't do that. I ain't doing that. Well, eventually, if he said publicly, which we heard him say, that you go and use your little bleach and a little lighting, you know, little whatever kind of lamp he was talking about to light yourself up. You know, radiation, and that might be helpful. And then he was leaning over talking. I was watching a poor white lady, used to wear the scarves, used to be, her legs was coming, you know, when girls feel uncomfortable, their legs come together and their feet go out like this. That girl, she wouldn't even look up. She said, and he was just rolling like, okay, now, so they all in it. We'll put our finger on exactly who's who and what's what and how it's all working very soon. But we do stay on that subject because what's the latest thing that he always do? He stay in the news all the time, but you just can't give him no case. What do you call it? Down there in Georgia. Hey, man, give me, what's up, man? I can stand 11,700 or something other, right? What I must do, man? You know, it's like a regular old dumb conversation. Hey, this guy has already destroyed America for what it was last year. He's made every classical mistake in the book. I don't know, for the last week or so, Aga Soleimani has been on, they've been showing him and Muhandas over and over and over again. And that was clearly a mistake. You know, it was a mistake on all levels. First of all, he's the only guy, and the world knows it, that was effective against Daesh and ISIL and all that. And these guys, just yesterday, they cut off people's head. Hazaris are Shias in Pakistan, but they look different than all other Pakistanis. When we would go to Shia programs here, they have an Asian look to them, but they're Shias. And there's a whole tribe of them from Pakistan. And when you see them, you know what you're looking at. And they just killed a whole crew of them yesterday. The